Tracy. Good afternoon and welcome to this webinar on childcare and early years education apprenticeships. Firstly, welcome. I'll give you a couple of minutes for everybody to get into the webinar. Today I'm joined by Jill and Tracy from Portsmouth College, and they're going to be here to tell you a little bit more about what opportunities are available in childcare and early years settings. As I said, give you a few minutes, few housekeeping bits and pieces. We are all working from home, so please do forgive us if you hear a dog barking in the background or a child screaming. We will ignore it, so if you could too, that would be amazing. Also, obviously, we sometimes do have technical issues, internet issues. If we go for a couple of minutes or one of us goes for a couple of minutes, please bear with us. We will be back in very shortly. My name's Jodie. I'm from the Solent Apprenticeship Hub. We are an organisation that provides impartial advice and guidance to employers and individuals around all things apprenticeship. You'll see on your panel of this webinar, there is a Q&A section. Please do ask any question you feel relevant. We will do our best to answer them all towards the end of the presentation. Without further ado, you'll see me drop out. I'm going to pass over to Tracy and Jill. They're going to take you through the presentation, and I'll be back towards the end to deal with all your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so hello guys, welcome. We're going to talk to you today about an apprenticeship in early years education and childcare. So we're going to give you a bit of an intro about what it's going to be like for you. So early years, let's talk about what early years is when people talk about it. So this is the age from birth up to 5 years. This is in the early education sector where we're delivering learning opportunities for children through fun, enjoyable activities. You're going to have a really great time while you're studying. The early years curriculum is called the early years foundation stage. So that's the curriculum that we work to in the early years sector. So what kind of things can you be doing, can you expect to be doing? So as an apprentice practitioner, your role and responsibilities will include some of these things. So you will be facilitating play activities. You'll be part of play with children. So you'll be getting down at their level, really getting involved in their activities. You'll be observing their development and their learning. You'll also learn about learning and development and being able to support that with children. You'll be ensuring that all their needs are met, which includes their physical and emotional needs. And you'll be working alongside lead practitioners. So you'll be getting a lot of feedback, a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge shared with you along your journey. You'll be maintaining your healthy and safe environment, creating and maintaining secure relationships with children and parents. These bonds are very, very important in early years particularly. And you'll be supporting your colleagues as a good team member. So you're going to be a cog in that well-oiled machine. And then upon your induction at the beginning, you'll be given policies and procedures and guidance around those, and you'll be following those throughout, again, your journey. So different places that you might work in early years. So it might be, for example, in a nursery or a preschool. It might be in a forest school. It might be in a specialist early years environment. You might also be working in reception year at a school, so assisting a class teacher. Which again is a different experience, gives you different grounding. You might even work as a childminder's assistant, so you might even be working in someone's home environment, which is again a different environment and gives different protocols that you're going to be working to. Some considerations is you might want to think about your workplace could be open all year, could be term time only, could be 9 till 3, for example, could be 9 till 6, could be 7 till 6. There's lots of different options, but you will, as an apprentice, be expected to work a minimum of 30 hours per week. Just remember, though, it is a challenging environment. It is also very, very fun and rewarding. It's such a special experience. It's such a privilege to be part of the supporting of children's growth and development. So true or false, you must have some experience of looking after children to get into early years in the childcare apprenticeship. This is totally false. You don't need any experience, but we're going to talk in a minute about different skills and experience that you might already have that you don't even realise. So Some basic experience, such as babysitting or helping out family members. You might feel like you're a bit of a leader in your group, etc. Have some really good ideas. All these kind of things are really useful as a grounding for employment. They're not essential, they are useful. Other skills and qualities that any employer would look for, but particularly early years, is you might have a good, kind and caring nature. You might be really empathetic. You might be a good listener. You might have some specific interest in growth and development. You might be really imaginative and creative and love making things and coming up with new ideas and games. A good willingness to be part of a team. Again, like I say, that well-oiled machine, you're going to be a good functioning cog in that. Organisational skills are key in any job. Again, with punctuality and reliability. Any employer is going to see that as a really valuable asset in someone that they're going to take on. Patience. When you're working with children, this is vital. You must be patient. You've got to work, again, with small children. And there's an awful lot that goes into it. You won't be, just playing with Play-Doh and colouring in. There's an awful lot that goes into this profession. You need to have a motivation to do well. This is always a benefit in life in general. But a good enjoyment of being around children. So what is an apprenticeship? So it's open to anyone under 16 years, over 16 years of age. So it's a real job. So you're actually going in as an employee and you'll be combining your study with actual experience in your sector. You'll be developing some understanding and skills and behaviours which will be applicable to your chosen career. These are going to be so advantageous to get the theory alongside the practical, because you can really compare and you can really envision it and you can really pick it apart. You're getting the experience. Another bonus here is earn while you learn. So you will be in paid employment while you're training. The minimum wage for apprenticeship rate at the moment between 16 and 19 years is £3.90 per hour. But this does increase when you're 19 years of age or if you've completed a year's apprenticeship. The minimum length of an apprenticeship is 12 months, but it could be 2 years or more depending on what level of apprenticeship you take. So you can take it on to degree level. So benefits. Again, we'll go back to the earn while you learn. It's great. You get really good experience of your the profession that you want to go into. So we all think that we want to be something, but do we really know what that something is? So you're going to gain experience of the employment process and make contacts. So you're going to go through the application process, the interview process, etc. And again, along the way, making contacts with employers and other practitioners, meeting other people in the field. You're going to learn from experienced and qualified staff. They're going to be there to help and support you. There's opportunities for progression onto higher education apprenticeships. So you can take it either into a specific pathway. You might, for example, want to have an interest in speech and language therapy or growth, physical growth. So you can go down your specific pathway as well. At the end of your apprenticeship, even from level 2, you will gain a recognised qualification, so you will be certified. You'll have an allocated workplace mentor. You'll also have a course assessor. So we're going to support and advise you through your apprenticeship. We're going to be going through the journey together. And we also do progress reviews. And these are shared with yourself, your employer, and your tutor assessor. If you've been really absolutely fantastic throughout your apprenticeship, your employer is potentially going to offer you a full-time position at the end of that. So you've really got to shine throughout this. Keep it going throughout. Finally, it's no cost to you. This is such a bonus. You think that a lot of education costs you. The apprenticeship system works where your employer and the government pay. So there's no outlay from yourself. So another true or false for you. Only women can work with children. This is so false. So children need both male and female role models. They really enjoy the company of anyone who's got any interest in them whatsoever. Anyone who's got the energy to keep up with them, you will be a climbing frame. There are current initiatives to grow the number of men in early years in childcare. So really that's something that we really want to prompt. They bring a different experience to children. Some of our best practitioners throughout our experience have been male. So how's your apprenticeship going to look? So depending on the course delivery, depending on your employer and their requirements, we've got some element of flexibility in there. So there's lots of different delivery options. So you might attend college one day a week. It could be daytime, it could be evening, depending on your employer again. You might attend in block sessions, so days for a month, either monthly or weekly or half-termly or in the holiday periods. You might have remotely delivered classes or individual sessions where you don't actually need to attend to the college setting at all. We as assessors and tutors will also come and deliver in the workplace some of the course content, but you can also have any mix of these. Again, this is in consultation with your employer. So 20% of your whole qualification is off-the-job activities or opportunities, and these are opportunities to develop your skills, knowledge and behaviours in your working hours. These might include things like online learning, coaching, mentoring, training sessions, workshops, might be feedback from your employer that you've then implemented and had re-feedback from, certain reviews. It might be also time to complete your coursework. This, as I say, must contribute 20% of your entire course. So some of the evidence that you'll be compiling in order to show that you have completed the course at the end, there will be written assignments, there'll be tasks. There's some written workbooks relating to practice in the workplace, also relating to theory. So you're going to learn the grounding of theory, why we do what we do, where it comes from, how we know what we know. Observations, so your tutor assessor will come into the workplace and observe you. Also, you will be carrying out observations in the setting, and your employers and other staff will be observing you. Witness testimonies will be carried out as well. So where there's occasions that we can't actually get in and observe you doing a specific practice, they can be testimony by a witness within your setting. Again, there's specific criteria around that, but that's provided. Also professional discussions, which is actually part of your end point assessment, which we'll talk about in a minute, but professional discussions where you're going to share the knowledge that you've learned and share experiences that you've had. So the standards for our apprenticeships, we have the level 2. This is a 12-month course. So you're going to complete activities in training in the workplace. You're going to be in the college as well. You will get your level 2 qualification, which is the early years practitioner qualification. And you have a 3-month period at the end of your qualification, which is called the gateway period. And this is where you're preparing for your end final assessment. So you will also hold a level 1 qualification in maths, English, and at least have attempted the level 2 in English. And these are done either via functional skills or you will have the existing qualifications. The final assessment, so the endpoint assessment, consists of multiple choice knowledge tests, professional discussions, also supported by an evidence portfolio that you'll be compiling throughout your course. The level 3 is much the same. It's the progression on from the level 2. We do expect you to start at the level 2 to get a really good grounding and foundation. The level 3, the difference, it takes 18 months. But again, the last 3 months will be your endpoint assessment preparation, the gateway period. So we do expect that by the end of this, you'll hold a level 2 qualification in maths and English. But this, as the bottom box says here, depending on your GCSE grades or equivalent, you might be required to undertake the functional skills alongside your qualification. You will be supported through this as well. So, where do you go now? What do you want to do? All apprenticeships must be advertised initially on the gov.uk website. So that's always going to be your first port of call, gov.uk. There is a link on the slide here, so that will take you across there nice and quickly if you want to see that. But the process goes a little something like this. So you might see a job advert. I really want that job, really interested. So you're going to fill out an application and submit that. You might get shortlisted for interviews. Fantastic. You've been outstanding so far. You're called in for interview. Your interview is fantastic. You've displayed your wares. You've given them all the promise that you're going to give them a fantastic experience, and you're going to gain fantastic experience alongside. Then eventually, once you've been for your interview and it's been successful, you've sold yourself well, successful candidates will be offered a position potentially. So that's it, guys. Your future starts now. So thank you all for your time. No question too big or small.
I think I'm back with you now.
Questions are open right now. I'll just give it a couple of minutes before we start on those. One thing I will just make a point of, if you would like some more information, if you want us to go through the current opportunities that are available in childcare, our email address is on the front page. Please go there, complete a contact us form, and what we'll do is we'll talk to you about your individual options, what's available in the area, where it is. I would also thoroughly recommend, as Jill said, that you go on the Find an Apprenticeship website. The majority of apprenticeship vacancies are on that site. You'll be able to see what's local to you. You'll be able to search by postcode. It will give you all the key details, such as the role, the hours that you're going to be working, the days you're going to be working, and also the salary, which is really important. Right, let's get started with these questions. First one is, I really struggle with maths. Will this make it harder for me to get a childcare apprenticeship?
No, not at all. It doesn't make it harder, but it does mean that you're going to spend some time alongside your apprenticeship doing your maths as well. And depending on the level that you're doing, you'll need a level 1 or a level 2. You are expected to try out for a level 2, even when you're doing a level 2 apprenticeship. But a level 3, you have to have a level 2. So yeah, a little bit of extra time to do your maths, but you're well supported through that, and it's run alongside your apprenticeship course.
I think, Tracy, as well, the thing about functional skills, and certainly what appealed, I think, to a lot of people, is they are exactly that, a lot more functional. So you can apply them to a childcare setting, you can apply them to real life, which makes them, I always think, a bit more attainable. Would that be fair?
Yeah, definitely. And we've got some, and I expect everybody has got some really good tutors that will help you try and make sense of it in comparison to what you're doing, because that is the whole point of functional skills, that it's useful to you as well.
Yeah, for sure. Right, moving on to the next question. What's the process with DBS checks and other background checks for childcare?
So you would get your DBS check through your employer. So it will be up to your employer to sort that for you, because you'll be working on their premises with their children. So the employer will sort that out for you. It's quite a simple process. It's all paid for by the employer and sorted out with them. So it's not difficult to do. You just need to provide some ID and proof of address.
Amazing. And Tracy, can you tell us a little bit more about what a DBS actually is?
So that is your criminal records check. So your background is checked to make sure you're suitable to work with children. Obviously, that's highly important when we're working with children. And that's usually done quite regularly. Your employer might have a system that they can check that very regularly online, or it might be they do it every couple of years, but they do check it regularly.
Amazing. Next question. Is it competitive finding a placement for childcare?
It can be. It can depend on the place that you want to work and the hours and the type of thing that you want to do. But they tend to come up a lot ready for September. That's a good time to be looking. So now is a good time to be thinking about it, because everybody's got more jobs available September, and it tends to be term to term that jobs will come up as well. So if you didn't go September, you might find more in January or more again at Easter, as the settings numbers grow as well. So they're really key points to look out for jobs.
Amazing. Got another one here. I'm interested in childcare. If I decided to do something else after as a career change, I worry that I might be stuck in childcare with it being very specific. Is this the case?
Not at all. I think early years is sold very specifically as early years, but actually once you've got experience, the level 3 qualification is highly valued across many sectors, many different businesses. I've seen people go on and study and go into social work, to go into working on paediatric wards, to work in maternity units, because you have a really specialised qualification in working with very young children. So it is highly valued, but you do need the experience with it. So once you've got your qualification, it's good to get a couple more years. And then, if you were thinking about going on to university and you've got a lot of experience behind you, you can get your degree, or you can get an apprenticeship degree, or some jobs will take you with that level 3 because it is highly valued.
Amazing. Thank you. Another question. What are the best qualities for a childcare apprentice?
Wow. I guess probably the biggest is going to be patience, because you will be tested some days, but it is highly, highly rewarding. You've got to have a lot of energy. You've got to be motivated, enthusiastic. Just being able to really listen and spend time with children and understand what they're doing, what they're thinking. It's a lot about energy, a lot about patience, and that motivation. Really and truly, a lot of employers are going to want reliability as well. That's so high up on the agenda, because, as Jill mentioned, there's ratios for them to worry about as well.
Okay, another one. My sister has completed her level 3 apprenticeship in a nursery. Is there another apprenticeship she could do afterwards?
If she wanted to do something completely different, yes, because you can do a totally different pathway. If she's thinking about moving upwards in terms of early years and childcare, at the moment there's a level 4 and level 5 in development, so it's not there yet, but it is coming. The other options are obviously into other educational routes, so unfortunately not just yet, but there will be.
I think what's important to say, Tracy, is also, if your sister's interested in staying specifically in early years, then as Tracy said, there's some stuff in development, but there is a lot out there. So there's the teacher degree apprenticeship, there's the social worker degree apprenticeship. So there are things where you can progress in perhaps slightly different areas, but where your apprenticeship in childcare would be a real advantage for you. So it's key to sort of perhaps at that level 3 point think, okay, what does my development look like? Where do I see my career going in an early years setting? Or actually, do you want to diversify slightly, bring in all those skills that you've already got, move it to perhaps a slightly different setting? But there is opportunities there for sure.
You may also find, of course, if you're moving up the ladder in your setting and you end up in a senior position, you could be looking at team leadership, leadership and management apprenticeships. They're quite popular with early years as well.
Yes, absolutely. Right, next question. Do employers take work experience, or is it difficult because of the DBS and checks and health and safety?
Do they take work experience? They would really be pleased to hear that you've had some work experience to employ you. That certainly puts you above other people.
I think someone potentially looking for work experience.
Okay, yes. So work experience, it does again depend on the setting, but a lot of people will accept people looking for work experience for voluntary hours. Again, you'd be subject to that criminal record check, so that DBS would need doing. But absolutely, if there are plenty of settings that really do appreciate help and support from their volunteers. We can always do with an extra pair of hands with children running around.
Absolutely, I can imagine. I can only imagine. So we've got 2 questions very similar at the moment. I'm really keen to find a nursery job ASAP. What's the situation with nurseries recruiting due to lockdown and things like that? Can you give us a few more details on that?
Yeah, at the moment it's pretty much on hold, just while people aren't sure what they've got coming in terms of numbers and children and bookings. So it's a bit of a difficult time for everybody at the moment. But as I said earlier, I think come September, they'll all be opening up again. So I think over the summer, it's certainly worth keeping an eye out, look out for those roles, because I think they'll be back and open for people to apply for.
Yeah, and I would echo that point. I think even if you look now on the Find an Apprenticeship website, there is still people recruiting, although there are a lot less than what we would normally see on that website. But what I would say is we all are very aware of the dates that lockdown are easing and things like that.
Yeah.
One of the next things to open is, the wider childcare settings and early years settings. So, I would expect certainly in the next couple of months, Tracy, wouldn't you, to see those slowly starting to creep back up. So, do you know what? Use this time, get your CV on, get your applications amazing, and perhaps start to identify a few particular nurseries that you'd love to work in. Or, is your passion perhaps working in a reception year class, or is it actually you want to be a childminder's assistant? ask yourself all those questions, because that will only bode well for your future. Any investment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to think about those things, what sort of age ranges you're looking for, because that also will depend on where you might work. So those age ranges that you enjoy spending time with are quite important.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think we have covered most of the questions. Just a couple of more general points. One, if anyone, I know a couple of people have asked for the presentation. I'm sure Jill won't mind us sharing, if that's okay.
Absolutely fine.
If you just pop onto our website, fill out a contact us form and just say childcare presentation with your email address, we'll email it to you. That's not a problem.
Absolutely.
This presentation and webinar will also be available on YouTube under the Solent Apprenticeship Hub channel. Another more generic thing is childcare opportunities are available up and down the country.
Yeah.
There's no specific area where this is available. We're particularly focusing on the Solent area, which is sort of Portsmouth, Southampton, Fareham and Gosport, Havant, New Forest and the Isle of Wight. But they are absolutely throughout the country. Where there is children, there is childcare provision. And I think one of the things to say about, early years in childcare is that traditionally they've always been huge supporters of apprenticeships. It's been the way that they've developed their staff for many, many years. So it will be almost a natural thing for them to recruit apprenticeships. So please log on to that, find an apprenticeship site. There was a link in the presentation. We'll also put a link, perhaps we can always email it out or put it on the YouTube page as well. I have got one more question in that I won't ignore. What is the likely wage for my first apprenticeship job in a nursery?
That's going to depend on your age. And I think we've not updated in our PowerPoint, actually. I think it's $4.15 an hour now, I think, for apprentices in their first one. So in your first apprenticeship job, that'll be the rate, and it might change depending on your age after the first year. So that's after you're 19, of course. So yeah, 15 at the moment.
Always worth it inquiring with the employer that you're.
Yeah, and again, they might actually offer something different. You never know.
I think the reality is with childcare, they do tend to be on the minimum wage sort of first apprenticeships, because, as we were saying, there is a lot of numbers games around it just because of ratios and things like that, and the volume of staff they have to to run a nursery or a childcare setting.
And the resources.
It's huge. So it is an acknowledgement at the moment. You probably will start on the minimum wage, but actually once you're qualified, you're really marketable. And if you want a job that's got some real satisfaction, and you like children, because let's face it, that's probably one of the key things, it's a lovely career to get into.
It is. It's a lot of fun. Every day is different, and it's a lot of fun.
I can imagine. Okay, that's probably us concluded at the moment. If you've got any other questions, probably last sort of 10-15 seconds to get any of those in. Just looking.
If you get anything specific later, Jodie, we're happy to come back with answers if there's anything you need.
That's perfect. We have got someone that's got a particularly young person they're working with. So perhaps, Howard, what we'll do is, if you've contacted us via the hello@Solent Apprenticeships Hub, bear with us. We will forward your details on to either Tracy or Jill, and they'll get back to you specifically about this young person.
Yeah.
I think, one more. I think I'm done. I'm planning on going full-time at nursery. I've been working as a bank member. Is it beneficial for me to do this? And do you think online learning rather than apprenticeship? Do you do online learning rather than apprenticeship?
I'm not aware of any online specific early years courses, because you have to have the background in terms of the practice. So apprenticeship's a really good route because it is free to you no matter what your age. and you are well supported through it, so you're getting your experience and you're getting that qualification in theory as well. So it's a really good route. Online learning is not specifically good in terms of you getting the experience. You'd probably only be able to gather certain elements of the qualification through an online route.
I think also, Caitlin, the thing with childcare or early years and apprenticeships is what I was saying before. There is a lot of respect and a lot of value put on the apprenticeship in those sorts of settings. So I think not only would it serve you well now, but it will probably serve you really well in the future.
Yeah, and if you're already bank staff, if you talk to your employer, they might consider an apprenticeship with you anyway, because they know you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Right. I'm going to call it there and say thank you very much to Tracy and Jill from Portsmouth College. They've been a huge help and support in getting this out to you. I hope you all enjoyed it. As I said, please, if there's something you want to speak to us about specifically, email address is on the screen now. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.